Hello and welcome. This is Saturday News at noon. I'm your host, Keith Lander, coming to you from the Tabernacle Baptist Church right here in Dayton, Ohio. Welcome. I appreciate all the comments from the last show. If you didn't get to see the last show, you can go to the Tabernacle Facebook page. You have to put in the Tabernacle Baptist Church and it'll pop up. Or you can go to YouTube and you can also look at it that way also. The last show was very informative. We had Michael Carter from St. Clair Community College here, and we talked about the critical race theory. It's a show you don't want to miss. If you missed it, go back and check it out. And I appreciate all your comments. Hopefully I hit a like button on all of them. If I miss one, I'll go back and check again, but I think I got them all because I want to make sure if you take the time out to drop me a line or acknowledge that you've seen the show, I should also take the time out to make sure and respond to say I seen your comment. So keep those comments coming. I appreciate it, and I thank you for that. On today's show, we have our scam report. These scammers, boy, they getting real slick, y'all. You got to watch out for them. And I'm gonna give you just a little advice on these. They have all these weight loss ads and promotions pop up on TV every once in a while, and they promise you all these big things about you can take this pill and you can lose weight. You can take this pill, you don't have to exercise and lose weight. You can take this pill, you can eat all you want, still don't have to, and you still lose weight. That's not the case, folks. I'm gonna give you the straight on it so you can recognize when you see a scam about a weight loss product. And I'll run down the list. Now, here's the list. Now, here's how to spot the false claims. The false claims are lose weight without dieting or exercising. You won't. You don't have to watch what you eat to lose weight. You do. If you use this product, you'll lose weight permanently. Nah, that's wrong. To lose weight, all you have to do is take a pill. No, that's not true. You can lose 30 pounds in 30 days. I don't think that's going to happen. The product that people also claim that the product works for everyone. It doesn't. And you can lose weight just with a patch or a cream. You can't. Folks, if you're trying to lose weight, you're going to have to change your diet, and you're going to have to do a little exercise. That's the bottom line. That's the only way you're going to lose weight. There is no magic pill. I know you may come across some products that's FDA approved and all this kind of thing. If you take that stuff, you still going to have to exercise and you still got to watch what you eat. And I would caution anybody before you take anything, any supplement, any weight loss pill, cream, whichever, consult a professional healthcare provider before you take anything. I don't care what they say on TV. I don't care what they say in the ads. If you buy this stuff, and you're welcome to buy it, take it to a healthcare professional and get their opinion on whether or not this stuff is safe, because some of this stuff is not even safe. It's loaded with a whole bunch of caffeine, and if you got high blood pressure, some of these chemicals in this weight loss stuff will affect your blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. Take the guesswork out, folks. Guesswork can get you in bad health. So if you buy these products, make sure you take them to your healthcare professional, either a doctor, a nurse practitioner, or somebody who knows more about healthcare than you and I, and say, hey, is this stuff good to take? And follow their opinion. So I don't want you to get stuck out there and you buy all these high-priced products and the stuff don't work. It ain't nothing but caffeine and sugar. So make sure you be on the lookout for that, because these people, they're slick. I mean, they putting big money in this because they make big money off of it because people buy it and the stuff don't work. So be cautious of these weight loss products, y'all. Now, a little local news. RTA. RTA is taking the next steps towards cashless services. That's the the Regional Transit Authority. The RTA, the Greater Dayton RTA, has taken the next steps and plan to transition from cashless services on board the buses. This is on board the buses. All right. So the way this thing works is, last week the Regional Transit Authority stopped selling day passes, which cost $4 on boarding buses, because customers can get unlimited travel at a cheaper rate on tap pay. Now, the system caps tap pay daily travel at $3 a day. And so these tap pays is what the RTA is going to, and you can find these things at various locations, which I'll get to in a minute. Tap pay is available via smartphone through the free transit app, as well as reloadable smart cards. Now, there's no cost to receive one, but customers must load at least $3 to receive the card. Now, it's important to note that the tap pay is just for riding on the RTA. If you want to pay cash for other services at the RTA, as it stands right now, you can do that. And the way you get these tap pays, they're in 300 retail outlets within a quarter of a mile of the RTA routes. And so you can also find these tap pay cards at CVS, Walgreens, Dollar General, Family Dollar, and Speedway. So the RTA is moving toward cashless riding on board the buses. If you didn't know that, of course, I haven't rode a bus in quite a while, so I think I have to go out and buy me one of these tap pays so I can get on the bus and tap my card and ride along to my destination. So I'll repeat the locations again. If you didn't get the locations of where you can buy these tap pay cards, they're at CVS, Walgreens, Dollar General, Family Dollar, and Speedway, as the article states. So make sure you know that when you get on the bus, don't start pulling out a bunch of loose change, because I don't think that's going to work. So make sure you get the tap pay. Also, after the this is statewide, after the pandemic extension, the license and registration deadline approach. So basically, as of January the 1st, after January the 1st, you have to get your license and your tags and all that stuff renewed. If you don't, you could be slapped with a fine or ticket or something even worse. So make sure that when the pandemic was on, they gave you leeway to extend your licenses and your registration. Now that has ended. So make sure you tell your friends if you haven't got your registration, you haven't got your license, you haven't got your plates, you haven't got your whichever, you have to do it, because if not, you're going to get slapped with a ticket. The state of Ohio is not playing. And you can go to the website. If you want to go to the website and renew these things, you can. It's bmv.org.gov. Got it? It's bmv.ohio.gov. And you can renew your stuff right there online. You don't have to go down to the BMV locally and stand in those long lines, because I know it's going to be some long lines, because people usually wait till the last minute to get these things done. And so if you wait till the last minute, then go to the website and make sure you get your license renewed, so you won't be pulled over by the law enforcement and get slapped with a ticket and have all those other headaches. All right? So pass that along to your friends, because I'm pretty sure you know some folks who don't have their license renewed or anything like that, don't have the sticker, don't have the license on the car, don't have the license on the car. Make sure you tell them to get it done. All right. Now some national news. This is very surprising. It says, D.C. officer who protected Capitol says Republican rep refused to shake his hand. Now, this is from the AP. It's almost embarrassing to even tell this story, but I'm going to say it anyway. A Washington, D.C. Metro Police officer who suffered mild heart attacks while responding to the January 6th Capitol riot said late, it was on a Wednesday, that GOP rep Andrew Clyde of Georgia refused to shake his hand and walked away from him as he approached the congressman on Capitol Hill. Now, Michael Fanone is the individual. He's speaking out on PTSD that some of these law enforcement officers who went in and protected the Capitol on January 6th when Donald Trump sent the gang of thugs and hoodlums and crazies to try to stop the certification of the election of Joe Biden. And so these thugs and hoodlums went there to riot, and this man almost lost his life, and a couple other officers did lose their life. But Michael Fanone went to Washington to try to talk to some individuals to let them know exactly what happened, if they didn't know what happened. If they don't know what happened, I don't know where they've been. But as he tells his story, he says he was very cordial. He extended his hand, Fanone account, and he said Representative Clyde just stared at him. He said he didn't know who he was. He said he introduced himself as Officer Michael Fanone, one of the D.C. Metro Police officers who fought on January 6th to defend the Capitol. As a result, he suffered traumatic brain injury as well as a heart attack after being beaten, tased, and at the back of his skull, and the officer said. At that point, the congressman turned away from me and walked away, according to Mr. Fanon. Now, here's why I bring that up. This guy's a congressman. He was in the Capitol on January 6th. Mr. Fanon protected his life. Mr. Fanon put his life on the line for this representative. Let me make sure I get his name right. He put his life on the line for this representative, Andrew Clyde, out of Georgia. And Andrew Clyde, when this officer introduced himself and made it known who he was, didn't even have the common decency to shake the man's hand or either engage in conversation. See, these are the people we got in Washington. We got some in the State House. What good is that? How does that help the people in Georgia? Now, this man protected your life. He put his life on the line for this Andrew Clyde, this representative out of Georgia. And you don't have the decency to shake his hand? What kind of man are you? And why would people vote for somebody like that? Why would people in Georgia vote for this guy? I just wanted to bring that up, folks. Let's have some decency. That's not even decent. You don't even want to shake the man's hand who put his life on the line for you. All right. We got to be careful about who we send to places to legislate, whether it be local municipalities, whether it be state municipalities, or whether it be Congress. Because a man like this Andrew Clyde, does not belong in the position he's in by demonstrating that he don't even want to shake a man's hand who put his life on the line for him. Can't get much worse than that, folks. I'm going to move on. We have all these voter suppression laws coming around. Texas is the latest one. We had some down in Tennessee, Ohio. There's a bill proposed also. According to the AP, the Justice Department is suing Georgia over its voter laws. Now, what's holding all this stuff up? You know, and people say, well, why can't the federal government get involved? The federal government can get involved, but since we have this thing called the filibuster, and I'm going to have somebody on to explain all this stuff in better detail than I can ever do. But apparently, if all the Democrats would side together, they can probably get this thing through. But you got a couple of people on the Democratic side, Joe Manchin from West Virginia, and I think there's another representative, a Democrat, who's holding things up. They don't want to vote for it. I don't know what, for whatever reason. They don't. So with this holdup, then the Justice Department has to sue these states. And suing a state like this, it takes a while. And in the meantime, we got elections coming up next year. Now ask yourself, why are they putting all these voter suppression laws in place in the first place? And the states that are doing it are Republican-led. And they claim it was voter fraud, but then when you ask them to give the evidence of the voter fraud in their state, they don't have any, right? They don't have any to match the magnitude which they think it takes to change the election. None of this stuff is going to change the election. As it's been reported, this was the most secure election in America history. All right? Now, I don't care what you see Donald Trump out there talking about. He lost, folks. He lost on the same ticket of where some Republicans won. So how can he lose and other Republicans win? It's all stupid. You know what I mean? This is an attempt from these states, and if you read these laws carefully, what they're trying to do, if the election comes down and it gets real tight in these states, and their candidate is losing by 1 or 2 percentage points, they want to throw in the voter, they want to say it was fraud. And they don't want to have to prove it's fraud because they'll have control over the votes in that state, and they'll make it stick. So the big game, or the outcome is, they want control, they want to take the control from the local counties, put the control in the Republican state hands, and if the election is tight, they want to say it was voter fraud and do away with whoever's the winner and put their person in as the winner. That's what this attempt is about. And the only way we can stop this thing is you have to end this filibuster. And Joe mentioned, and I can't think of the other lady's name, who's a Democrat, who's holding this thing up. They should be ashamed of themselves. Because if you look at it, all the Republicans are on board. They don't care what they're on board. They could be on board for the most craziest thing, you know what I mean, like Donald Trump's big lie, like there was fraud in the election and he should have won. They all on board on that, even though it's wrong. It's about as wrong as wearing 2 left shoes, but they all on board. Now here we are with the Democrats. We're trying to preserve voting rights, and you got 2 Democrats holding it up. Holding it up. That make any sense to you? All right, so I just wanted to bring that up. The Justice Department is doing what they can to try to stop these states like Georgia and Tennessee and other places with these voter suppression laws. So I'm going to move on. I'll keep you posted on this here. I got a person coming on the show that's going to explain all this stuff in better detail, and you'll get a full understanding of what's really going on. I've also, from in the news, I see on some of these shows that people are hollering and screaming, crime is escalating to the level we haven't seen in decades as a result of the Democratic defund the police movement behind President Biden and Vice President Harris' open border policy. Well, I fact-checked that, folks, and that's not true at all. Not even close to being true. See, here's what happened with crime. Crime spikes, and then it goes down, right? And then it levels off. Now, how do you reduce that? You give the resources to the law enforcement agencies to deal with crime. Now, can they prevent crime from happening? Yeah, if they're standing there when the guy robbed the store. But if there's not a police officer standing right there when the guy robs the store, you got a crime. The only people that can reduce the crime are the people who are engaged in crime. All right? You can blame any administration. All administration, whether it be Trump, Clinton, President Obama, there was crime on the rise, and then it resettles back down. There's not one political party that has the answer. And all these people hollering about crime rate is going up, crime rate is doing this, ask them, what is your recommendation to reduce it? And you know what you get? You get a blank stare like this. Because they have no answer. That's all they want to do is hype it up as one side versus the other side, right? One side versus the other side. And then when one party comes up with some recommendations, the other side don't even want to agree with them or don't even want to push it forward. So what we have is we just have these media outlets just harping on the fact, look at the crime, look at the crime. Crime is like that under Donald Trump. Did you hear any of these media outlets hollering and screaming about crime? Donald Trump said he was going to, we're going to reduce the crime. He didn't reduce any crime. He didn't have any policies. That's all he had was grievances. And all his grievances was pointed towards somebody else, but the person they should have been pointed to was him. I forget which one the president says the buck stops with him. The buck didn't stop with this last guy because the media gave him a pass to do whatever he wanted to do. And so I just want to highlight, this is out of PolitiFact. You can look it up. This crime rate is no different than any other year. It goes up and down, up and down. And so when you hear these people talking about how bad the crime is, ask them what do you recommend to reduce it? See what kind of response you get. All these people hollering and screaming. And you see it on all these conservative networks. They'll point to Chicago and they'll point to some other place. What is your recommendation to reduce it? And if you got a good recommendation, we may take a look at it. But if not, you looks like, to me, that there's a building on fire, right? You got a water hose, right? You don't want to turn your water hose on to help spray off the fire. You just want to complain about the fire. You just want to complain about the fire. They just want to complain about the crime. They have no remedy, no policies, no recommendations. They just want to complain. So next time you hear these people talking about how bad the crime rate is, call up to the station and ask them what's their recommendation. Here's a story that's going to make you scratch your head. Now this is out of Miami, the Morning Journal of Lisbon, Ohio. And the report says that a former police chief out of Shift Lake, Ohio, right? He resigned on January 29th. And he resigned because he left a note on a black officer's desk that said Ku Klux Klan on big letters. He put it on his desk. The officer had a raincoat on the desk. He put the note on the coat, Ku Klux Klan. Not only did he put the note on this black officer's desk, but it was on a surveillance camera. And you can watch him. You can watch him clear as day. Go in there and put the note down there. The Sheffield mayor, Dennis Breen, said in a phone interview that he was surprised that what happened, and he put the chief, who was white, on administrative leave, and he was going to fire him, which he'd be justified, because if that police chief don't have enough sense. The police chief said he was joking, y'all. That's what he said. I'm joking. I was just joking with the guy. Well, you don't joke with a black individual that with a hate group as a history of the Ku Klux Klan. You don't joke on that, folks. And if that police chief does not have enough sense or enough intelligence to know that that's not funny and he shouldn't do it, he don't belong in the rank and file of the police officer. Plain and simple. So I just wanted to bring that up. And I don't know if we got the footage on the surveillance when the police chief put that note on there. But he thought it was funny. It's not funny, folks. And this is what needs to happen. And I'm glad the mayor put him on administrative leave. And I'm glad the mayor was about to fire him, because that's what it takes. That's what it takes. He can go laugh with his other buddies. Maybe he can go down to the Klan Hall and laugh with them. You know? So, just wanted to bring that up. This critical race theory, folks, is getting out of hand. You know, we had the last show on the critical race theory, but I just want to bring this up. Ruby Bridges, a children's book, now labeled critical race theory by parents in Tennessee. Now, these people in Tennessee, folks, there's if you don't know, there's a children's book about Ruby Bridges, who integrated New Orleans schools, now has been labeled critical race theory by conservative parents of Tennessee. Now, Bridges, who was a 6-year-old when she experienced racism in its most vile for months after integrating an all-white William Frantz Elementary School. And so that's the history. And you've seen some pictures of her, you know, they got some pictures of her walking to the class and all that kind of thing. Well, these parents, folks, don't want a children's book about Ruby Bridges being taught in school. Why? Because, as the words of the parent, at this one, let's see, at this one person, they said it says it makes the whites look angry and no redeemable qualities. Well, let me tell you something. I'm going to give you the truth. When those folks was hollering and screaming at this little girl, they had no redeemable qualities. They was ignorant and racist, and that's the truth. So as Michael Carter said on the last show when we talked about critical race theory, these people who holler critical race theory don't want the truth about what white folks did to black folks throughout history and still doing. They haven't stopped. They don't want that to be shown. But they had no problem when they showing black folks in the most negative light. They had no problem about that, do they? But they want to have a problem when we put the spotlight on what the white folks has been doing or had done from a historic standpoint and a truthful standpoint. Ain't nobody making this stuff up. We see the video. They had cameras. We see the pictures. We read the reports. But now anything that deems, whether it be history or whether it be current, like as it relates to whites' activity back then or behavior back then, if it make them look bad, they don't want it shown. Why is that? They don't want it shown. So they don't want the true history to be shown of what these white folks been involved in. Boy, we got a long way to go in this country. I thought we came a long way, but I think we got a long way to go because this is ridiculous. Anything that shows white folks in a negative light, they deem it critical race theory. That's it. They don't care what it is. And as I said on the last show, and Michael Carter said it best, critical race theory is not even taught in these schools. It's not taught in elementary school. It's not taught down here in Tennessee where these fools are. It's not taught in any high school, any elementary school, any preschool. So what's the problem? It's not even taught. And yet they want to ban something that's not even taught. And it's not even proposed to be talked about. And yet they still trying to ban it. I'll move on. Hey, here's a story that you probably didn't see. Ex-rapper launches healthy hip-hop app for kids and parents and teachers. Now, this is a good one. This guy name is Roy Scott. Roy Scott had the dream of becoming a rapper, you know, sort of like Tupac and Bone Thugs and Harmony and some other rappers. And he did land a labeling collaboration with a record label called Tech Nine. And one day, as he's driving his son to school, he's discovered that his son, his little son, was repeating some of the lyrics from some of this rap music. And the light bulb went off. He said, man, I can't have my son repeating some of these lyrics from these rap artists. And he decided to develop what he called the Healthy Hip Hop app. And this Healthy Hip Hop app, along with Wes Smith, they came up to feature animated characters such as Smith's PJ Panda, and then rap to songs like learning how to use the potty, healthy dieting, and positive affirmations. And so if you look up this app, and it's nice. It's got some nice beats, and the kids get involved and they repeat affirmations and they learn to use the potty and some other things. I mean, it is good, but.
Yeah. Right. Ooh, we just wanna go outside. Looking like it's a nice day. Gotta get up off the couch. No more video games. Yeah. Be active, be active, be active, be active, be active, be active. Be active, be active, be active, be active, be active, be active. We just wanna go outside. Looking like it's a nice day. Gotta get up off the couch. No more video games. Yeah, yeah. Be active, be active, be active, be active, be active, be active. Be active, be active, be active, be active, be active, be active. Think I might go hit the playground. Kick ball, running to the base now. If you really wanna get active, come on, I can show you the way now. Playing basketball with the dunks. We can go run, we can jump. We just gotta get out the house. Cause sitting on the couch is for chumps. Yeah, we can go and ride our bikes. Or maybe go fly us a kite. Playing all day till the night. We can do whatever you like. On the trampoline doing backflips. Baseball field getting practice. It don't matter what you do.
Now he did get on, they got on this, if you ever heard of Shark Tank, they got on Shark Tank, and they did get an offer from one of the sharks. I think Kevin O'Leary made them offer of $500,000. Now what happened after that? It says that Mr. Scott received a call from the producers, and it says he said ABC, the network, which is owned by Disney. That's where the Shark Tank come on. And he said they looked at you guys as competition. So they didn't air the show because they looked at this Healthy Hip Hop Act as competition to Disney, which led Mr. Scott to know, hey, I got a good product here. And he went on and developed his product, and you can look it up. You can find it. It's Healthy Hip Hop app. Roy Scott is the producer of that, and it's good for kids to listen to and get some positive affirmation, and also learn some useful things, like learning, go to the potty, and some other things. So you might want to look that up. That'll keep them from reciting some of these adult rap music. So here's a story I know folks didn't see. Civil rights pioneer who inspired the 1953 Baton Rouge boycott dies at 99. Her name was Martha Wright. Martha Wright, she was 99 years old, and her actions helped ignite the Baton Rouge bus boycott of 1953. Now, she died. Now, 1953, you got to remember, now this is the boycott that inspired Dr. Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and the Montgomery boycott. Now, the Montgomery boycott was 1955. This was 1953. And at the time, Miss Martha Wright, she was 23 years old. And she, of course, working all day long, got on the bus. They told her she had to move, and she said, I ain't moving, I'm tired, I'm staying. And the police were called. And at the time, that the buses were desegregated. But when Miss White refused to move, the bus companies decided to go back to the desegregation. I want you to sit in the back. And she refused to do that, and that started a boycott. Now, this article didn't say how long the boycott lasted, but it got to the point where they had to let the black riders ride and sit anywhere on the bus they choose. So I just wanted to bring that up because sometimes people get lost in history. They get overshadowed. And I didn't want Miss Martha Wright to be overshadowed because her work and her courage, and from the reports, they said at 99, she was just as feisty as she was when she was 23. So God bless her, So with that in mind, folks, I'm going to close this show. I appreciate you watching. The next show, we will deal in depth with this voter suppression and what the state of Ohio is doing. And I'll have a guest on to explain it in better detail. You'll understand what the filibuster is and why things are held up and why the federal government is having a difficult time to stop these states from, putting up these voter suppression. And a lot of people say, well, it ain't voter suppression. It is voter suppression. When you start shutting down polls early, don't want people to go vote on Sunday, when you move drop boxes, out of counties who are predominantly black, and the souls to the polls. I know you've heard that, people were engaged in that. Churches were, organizations were getting people to the poll on Sunday. These people are trying to stop that from happening with these voter suppression laws, folks. They know that when we go to the polls and we vote, most likely, they lose. They know that. So they're trying to do everything they can to stop us from going to vote. And I'll say it again. This old gospel song, I ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. We ain't gonna let nobody turn us around, folks. We'll stand at that poll and we'll open them doors, and we'll have them doors open as long as there are people in line, we gonna vote. So all you Republicans out there, you don't know the spirit. You don't know the spirit of black folks, that's for sure. Man, we come from people who took some hog guts and made it chitlins and made it a delicacy. We took some old plants y'all call greens y'all was ready to throw out. We took them greens and turned them into a feast. Man, we took some chicken necks and made it a feast. So y'all know who y'all playing with. We come from some people, resilient people. Whatever you give us, you know what I mean? We can make something out of it. And if you continue with this voter suppression, I can guarantee you, we're going to make something out of this here too. You better read the history. Obviously, you don't know the history, man. You better read the history. So I just want to make known that we're going to vote. And if these laws are still there, when we go to the polls next year, we're going to go to the polls and we're going to vote. Ain't nothing going to stop us. Ain't nothing going to turn us around. And if you do try to turn us around, oh, Lord have mercy. So I'm going to close with that, y'all. Until next time, may God bless you and your family.